So tell me, I mean, now you're in Connecticut. When did that moment come back to you, or was there an experience, or really what happened that all of a sudden your heart opened up and you're like, I need to get back to the Lord. All these memories that I've really have held in and know that God is real and true, and He has something special for me. Like, when did that happen to come back?
Oh man, I think throughout my teen years, from I would say 14 to 17, 18, and it was a gradual process. It wasn't like one day I woke up and I was like, okay, I don't want to serve God anymore, and then another day, years down the road, I was like, okay, now I do want to serve God. It was a roller coaster ride of having encounters with God, and believing in Him and trusting Him and being refilled with the Holy Ghost, and then falling back into my habits of sin, or just seeking after things of the world, or just getting distracted. I definitely think that it was definitely a process. It wasn't like a one-time turning away from God and then turning back to God, but definitely through my teen years, I definitely got distracted, and I do remember times after I started working at a grocery store here in town at 16. I would even tell people that I was not a Christian because I knew I wasn't living like a Christian. So yes, I went to church, and because my parents made me. If I was going to live in the house, I had to go to church at least once a week. And I'm so thankful for that now. It was kind of annoying at the time, but I remember people saying, "Oh, you go to church, right?" I'm like, I go to church, but I'm not a Christian.
That's just about that. That's powerful right there, because I think you see so many people out there that say it, and then you find out, but you're not living it, right? And you're saying it. That's powerful. The fact that you were humble enough to know, yeah, I'm going to church, but I'm not a Christian. I'm not being Christ-like.
Right. And I think that's a testament to my upbringing and parents teaching me what it meant to really be a Christian. But saying it and doing it are two different things sometimes.
Yes, absolutely true.
So my life is definitely a testimony of that back and forth, and really not making up my mind to pursue after God, especially in my teen years. There were times where in my teen years I was smoking weed, and I was smoking cigarettes and drinking, going to parties, running after girls all the time. And even, it's part of my testimony.
Yeah.
I hate to say that is, but it is. And there was a time in my life where I was running after the wrong things, all the while knowing where I needed to be, which is even more to my discredit. But somewhere along the line, the question was, what turned my mind?
Right.
There was several instances, but one instant that sticks out in my mind right now was I was actually smoking weed with some friends. I had a hookah at their house, and I was smoking out of this hookah, and I was high, sitting on the couch, and we were watching some show on TV. And while sitting there on the couch, I remember having this vision, or this out-of-body experience, where I came out from myself, I guess, and I kind of went up to the top of the room, and I could see myself sitting there on the couch. And of course, this is in my mind. I'm just seeing this, and all of a sudden, I'm outside of the house. So it's all of a sudden, I'm outside in the house. I can see the street, and then I keep backing up. I'm backing up farther and farther away from the house, and the house becomes small. I can see the street and the city, the state, the country, the world, and then all of a sudden, I see the entire world just become it shoots so far away from me so fast, and it becomes this little pinprick in space, and I see all the stars flying past me, and I see all this in a moment. I can't even tell you how long that it was. Just, I'm sure it was just an instant that all this happened. But I remember in that moment realizing that the choices that I'm making, well, first of all, the fact that the entire world in God's perspective is so very, very, very small. He created the entire universe, and yet I'm just this little one individual on an entire planet that is no bigger than the size of a pinhead. And it's so tiny, and I'm so insignificant. I feel like many times I feel like me sitting on the couch being high had no consequence, no eternal bearing. However, in that moment, it was like God gave me this glimpse of eternity, and the fact that my decisions right there at that moment were going to have an eternal consequence. This entire universe, this space, this time, this other dimension that I'm having a glimpse of is going to be affected by the decisions that I'm making right here on this little tiny pinprick of an earth.
Wow.
And it was definitely a turning moment in my life where I could feel I was far from God. I was running from the call of God in my life. I was running from everything that I knew was right. And yet, even in my sin, I'm sitting on the couch high.
Right.
I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. And yet, in the middle of my sin, God reached out to me and gave me a glimpse of eternity, I felt like. And I'm just really thankful for that experience and that vision, I guess, that God gave me. It changed my perspective, for sure.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the show today. If you enjoyed it, make sure to follow us and subscribe so you can stay up to date with the newest episodes, and follow us on all social media platforms, so check out the links below.